Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Once again, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews. This,
the real Geno, Geno Reynolds.
Where can we find you?
The real Geno, R-E-E-L-G-E-N-O. You're making me spell that a lot today.
Well, you can also find me at Twitter at Yes8. That is Y-E-S-S-H-H-8. So we both know how to spell. Alright, so in this video today, we are going to be talking about where we think the MCU is headed now that Endgame is over. We've got the slated list of movies that's supposed to come out, and we know that eventually we're going to be looking at X-Men and the Fantastic Four joining it. I think, you know, and so we can count that in, even though it's not, none of them are slated to be in this next phase of 4. So I would expect it would be in phase 5 that we'll get Fantastic Four and X-Men.
Probably.
But the thing is like, we didn't see a Captain Marvel in there. We didn't see another Spider-Man in there. We didn't see, was Black Panther listed in there? So it's like, how many years this will take to get through phase 4? Probably like 2, 3?
Maybe at least.
And so we're talking like, we're not getting another movie till 2020, right? Which means by 2023 we'll be over with phase 4.
Yeah.
And then we still got to get Captain Marvel, possibly more Spider-Man. Got Black Panther 3, and mixed in there X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Well, you got to remember with Disney Plus coming out, they can do a lot of stories that way too. I could see them using that to introduce some lesser characters that they want in future Avengers movies. You know, that way they don't have to give everybody a movie.
Yeah. Like some of the concern that's coming up is now with Blade being in the MCU, or going to be in the next phase here, that, well, then you can just get rid of Ghost, I almost said Cosmic Ghost Rider. Awesome comic, by the way, if you don't know Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah, I've read up on that one.
Oh God, it's awesome. Well, we won't get Ghost Rider, but we already did in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We got Robbie Reyes. We didn't get Johnny Blaze, but, you know, I could see them doing a Johnny Blaze story but like, a prequel to like the entire MCU, and then saying no Moon Knight. Now, I haven't done comic reviews in a little while, but Moon Knight is one of the best books that have been out there. He is basically Marvel's Batman to me. They've sometimes tried to put in Captain America as like close to Batman, but they're not even anywhere close. Because Moon Knight is a guy with multiple personalities that one of them's a billionaire like Bruce Wayne, and goes around and beats people up in the middle of the night, except he wears a white suit, and there's at least 2 other people in his head talking to him. And when people said that Keanu Reeves would be perfect as Moon Knight, because he's brutal, he fights, he's in the dirt, I was like, he'd be perfect, because he can play different guys, and it would also to me give Keanu Reeves a chance to really do something different. And from somebody who I would never have thought that from before. But with them saying, you know, how long would it be? Would you see Keanu Reeves in like a Disney service show? I don't think they would be able to do that.
No, he's going to be in a movie if he's in anything. And
I guess we also have to realize that just because they put things down in these slates to come out does not mean that some of these aren't going to end up being made. Look at Inhumans. It became supposed to be a great movie, turns into a terrible TV show that nobody wants to ever talk about. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you watched Inhumans. I watched like the first 2.
Brad and I went and seen the first 2 episodes when they had that IMAX release. And I didn't know much about it going in, and boy, I didn't want to know anything about it after I got out of it.
But it's just, that guy, he's the one who ran the first season of Iron Fist. And it's like, it shows. I don't know what his name is. I want to say Joe Buck, but that's the guy from like Fox Sports, I think. Whoever you are, man, he's like the guy that like works with a really tight budget, and it shows. But if we have to wait for Black Panther 2, I was hoping that Black Panther 2 would bring in Namor the Submariner.
That's what a lot of people are hoping.
They bring up the underwater earthquake, which is supposed to be time, but it's like, I know that Marvel plays the long game, but 2000, let's say past 2023, waiting that long.
I mean, think about some of the payoffs
Yeah.
that we got in Endgame, though. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the stuff that came back in Endgame had something to do with movies that came years and years before.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, especially when it dealt with time travel.
I think it's just mostly when I see what's slated to come out, and I'm not like interested in about 75, 80% of it. Like Shang-Chi, like
I am curious if Trevor Flattery is coming back in that movie, though, since they're going to do the Mandarin. You know what I really want to see, though?
yeah, I want to know.
I want to see that Trevor Flattery was really the Mandarin and he was just playing.
Well, if
to
anybody
get out of
can
it.
do it, it's Ben Kingsley.
Exactly, because if you get Ben Kingsley to play a villain, it's going to be
But then
great.
you're going to get people shouting foul and whitewashing because the Mandarin is Mandarin.
Well,
They
that
want-
being said, a lot of people complain that, well, if you do the Mandarin right, you can be considered racist. So you really can't win, can
But yeah,
you?
they put him in a suit.
Yeah.
And he has been in suits before. He hasn't always been like what's his name from Big Trouble in Little China?
Lo Pan.
Lo Pan. Like, you don't have to go. I mean, but at least that gentleman was the right race for the character.
I love that character.
But it was the right place. You could still get away with that.
Yeah.
I mean, now, like, and if it was a period piece or something, you could get away with that. But now you just go, oh no. But I think they'd make him more like a businessman, somebody who's trying to hide the rings of power and things like that in a legitimate business. So I do want to see that. I do think that they could do that. But I don't. I mean, we'd have to wait that long. But it's just Shang-Chi is just such a. He's an interesting character, but the last time I read him is in a Domino book, where I like Domino, but it's just like he was relegated to just what he's known for now, just being like somebody that nobody remembers. Kind of like Luke Cage in the comics. It's like he should be a big deal, but he's just basically a side character. Black Widow, I'm afraid, is also going to tell part of the future of the series of MCU, where I just don't like where it's headed. Same with Thor, was it Love and Thunder?
Yeah.
I'm very concerned with where it's all headed. Same with the Eternals. I don't think that's a necessary Marvel movie to be made. I think that if we're gonna come back after Endgame and Spider-Man: Far From Home, we have to hit the ground running like hard because if you're gonna make people wait that long, and all you're gonna have is like some Disney streaming shows where characters that we like from the movies are gonna be relegated to a streaming service, and they're gonna give us a bunch of unknowns. Which look, so we're Guardians of the Galaxy, and it worked out.
Yeah.
But I think that what we're going to find is translating these lesser characters isn't always going to work out. And I think more so than not, I mean, other than Doctor Strange, it's the only one that I'm legit fully on board with. And knowing that I'm going to have to wait probably till after 2023 for Fantastic Four and for X-Men, I feel like we will finally hit that fatigue. And I've been singing the praises that it's never slowing down. It's not going to slow down. But after Black Panther and Captain Marvel and seeing this slate of movies and being underwhelmed with like Ant-Man and the Wasp, I just feel like in the high water mark that Endgame left, I don't see where we're going is going to be as positive because of what people are trying to do. Marvel has been trying to force their comics to be a certain way, and while I'm completely fine with stories that have to do a lot with female empowerment, they all are forced. Nothing feels organic. Nothing feels like true to the characters. It's all just, look at me, I just, people aren't going to respond to it. And while you think that you're going to get the audience in there, eventually it's like the comic book industry, it's going to start to fizzle out. When people feel like you're talking at them, like you're yelling at them to believe in certain things because you have to and not write it well, I feel like people are going to suddenly start losing interest very quickly. And with going to the movies costing a lot of money, when Disney's streaming service is going to be just fine. Mm-hmm. So I'm completely on board with all their shows because they are characters that we like. I would have thought that they would have chosen to go like Netflix with Daredevil and Punisher and Iron Fist, like make some of those smaller characters on the small screen instead of the big screen, and give them a way to like 10 episodes or 8 episodes to tell their story and then introduce them into the MCU with like an event movie. And then if you feel like they're successful enough and there's more of a story to tell, then give them their movies. Black Widow should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
It missed the boat, and while I love Scarlett Johansson as the character, she's dead.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in what happened between Civil War and Infinity War. I'm just not.
Yeah, we're past that. We're 5 years past that, you know.
Or the whole, like, you know, why the whole debacle of, ooh, there's going to be, Jane Foster's going to be Thor, and why that's important now, and like, it's not.
You know, I'm curious where they're going to go with that, though, because I didn't read the series when she became the Mighty Thor, but from what I understand, she ended up having cancer. Yeah, and when she used the power, it made her worse.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that with your video, so I don't want to like jump too far over.
So it makes me curious if they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
In the movie, that's what my big curiosity is, or because maybe that's how they got her to come back to play the role. It's because they had this juicy part of playing that story. Yeah. I don't know. That I'm curious. Or are they gonna write out Chris Hemsworth in that way? I don't know where they're going with it. I am curious about it.
Honestly, Chris Hemsworth would be nuts to stop being Thor.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand Chris Evans because of how they closed out his story a little bit. Like, he's still alive, and there's always some way to bring him back to full force.
I still want that movie where he's returning the stones. I want to see him against Red Skull.
I want to see more of Chris Evans since they didn't close the book on him completely. Yeah. But like, I think the future of good MCU stuff will be on that streaming service because I want to know what Loki did after he got his hands on the Tesseract.
Oh yeah.
I want to know how Wanda and Vision become. Don't tell me that's another prequel. Like if you tell me that Wanda and Vision is just their adventures again.
I have a feeling it's going to be what happened to them during the time between, you know, when the team was split.
Yeah, it just what we saw of them in Infinity War, right? The scene where they're in bed and they're like they run off together. It didn't seem like they were really up to anything.
Yeah.
maybe just figuring out this man with his woman robot thing. I don't know. And then, but if they tell how she brings him back, because her powers are they've never been able to pin her powers down right. That she's basically a jack of all trades. She can just be like, I will bring him back. And bring him back and show them have a relationship because one of the cool comic stories was he had a whole family like him.
Yeah.
And now I know that you can't do that with her involved, but I do think that it would be an interesting story of that. And then
but I don't think that's what WandaVision's going to be. I think that's what Doctor Strange and the multiverse thing's going to be because she's supposed to be in that as well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I have a feeling that in a way,
yeah,
she might be kind of the villain of that movie because I think we're going to start to see the breaking of her mind because she's lost everything. You know, my biggest fear and about the Doctor Strange movie is that's how they're going to bring in all the stuff that was on Fox. You know, because we're talking multiverses here. Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, here's a universe that has the X-Men. Oh, hey, here's a universe that has the Fantastic Four. Oh, hey, here's a universe that has Blade, and so on and so forth.
Oh, fuck.
I am so afraid
You're just,
of that.
like, scaring the shit out of me. I didn't even go.
I think they're going to... Because think about it. If you have Wanda mentally breaking down and screwing with the multiverse... I mean, that's where I see that movie going. That's why there's multiverses.
Oh,
her mind is going to be messing things up, and Doctor Strange is going to have to stop her. Not that she's being evil on purpose. She's just mucking up the multiple worlds. But that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that that's how they're going to bring in all these characters. Oh. I'm really, really hoping that Disney's not that lazy.
Well, like I said, with the Eternals, I feel like that's where they're setting up the mutant history.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The two things that I'm pretty sure are going to be great are Falcon and Winter Soldier. Because I think if they do what they did in Winter Soldier, the movie, and take it with how America would accept a black Captain America alongside a former Soviet brainwashed Winter Soldier, and how they might actually want him to be Captain America, where Bucky has no interest in it because he's just like, no.
Well, I'm glad they skipped over Bucky because as much as I like the idea in the comics of Bucky becoming Cap, the run was kind of weak.
Yeah.
I didn't like where it went. I like Sam Wilson as Captain America.
It makes sense.
They didn't try to recreate Captain America. They just made it if Falcon was Captain America, and I like that.
Yeah, and I mean, who didn't like in Endgame when you hear Falcon go on your left, I just was like, that's. They were quietly and slowly building him to this character where, like, when he died, when he gets the snap treatment in Infinity War, his was one of the most profound. I knew Spidey was going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't prepared for all the Guardians to go, but when Sam left, I was like, oh shit! Like, I even knew that Black Panther was going to go because they're going to be sequels, so it's like it's fine. But when Sam died, I thought this should be permanent. And what do they do? Because you can't really make Bucky in this world, the Winter Soldier, can't be Captain America.
Even though they teased it multiple times in movies.
But I think that if they do it like Winter Soldier style, make a political thriller type of thing where there's like people working against them from the inside to mess up this new way of doing things, and how they have to try to balance it out, like play the game, but also, do it the way Cap would want.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be, and then What If?
I am so looking forward to
That's going to be amazing. I don't care if it's TV Y7 or whatever it'll be, TV PG or TVG, because it'll probably be animated, right?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about what they're doing with it, other than it's all based in the MCU.
If they do it live action, then they have to give it a budget. Because the stories that you can do,
is Disney. We
know that they have an endless pool of money, but even people with endless pools of money want to do it as cheap as possible. And so, in order to do What If, you have to either do it animated, where you can just go balls out, or you've got to give it a budget and be able to get people back. I don't want to see, Captain America from the back. And with Chris Evans' voice, because you couldn't get, Chris Evans in for scenes in certain situations where it's not necessarily about Cap, but you just want to have them there to fit continuity and things like that. But I think What If is going to be the big gem of all this, because I haven't read a What If comic in a while. I've looked at all the covers and stuff and thought they're pretty cool. But honestly, as far as since I'm a collector, they just don't really hold any if it's not something that's going to be important, for the stories to come. Like if What If was actually possibly canon and used like the multiverse theory where they could just pull
Well, sometimes that stuff
sometimes
happens.
they do, like Bloodstorm and things like that. Where
they had Punisher becomes Captain America What If comic.
Yeah.
What happened in the comic?
Yeah.
He became Captain America, at least for a short while before Bucky.
Yeah.
I loved Punisher becomes Venom. That was an amazing story. Yeah. Something I would love to see in any kind of form, animated or something.
And I guess we have to rule out if they're doing it in MCU stuff. Certain stories they just won't be able to do. Like What If Spider-Man married Black Cat?
Right. It's all based in the MCU, is what they've said. But they have not said if it's live action. If it's I've seen anyway. Live action, animated, whatever. I'd be cool if it's animated. Whatever they want to do, as long as it's they have some interesting stories.
And not crappy animation either, where it just looks awful, and you hear really cool actors with really stunted animation.
Yeah.
It would also take them longer to do, but just because not animation video, episodes of animation usually take 6 to 9 months and stuff. But I mean, I guess it would make it worthwhile. Do you have anything else as far as where you see?
Where I think they're going? I think with the tease that we got in Spider-Man Far From Home with the Skrulls and Nick Fury, the next threat is from space. Now, what that threat is, I don't know. I've got ideas. A lot of people think it's going to be Galactus. I don't think they're going there yet. I really don't. I believe the character's name was Annihilus.
Okay.
I think that's where they're going next. Before Galactus.
Okay.
Galactus, I think they're going to save for when they've got everybody. When they've got everybody, that way everybody can go. I mean, think about the huge superhero moment we had in Endgame where all of them were coming through the portals. Okay, we have Galactus now. We need to make it a bigger moment than that. You need to have all hands on deck.
Sure.
At least who survived anyway.
Yeah. It's just the only thing about that is it would be mostly people doing damage control.
I don't know.
Because he's this force of nature. You can't all like Spidey can't do anything against Galactus.
Very true.
Things.
But
I
just still think that that's what it's going to be. Is they're gonna want everybody there.
Yeah.
However they have to deal with him, they're going to want everybody. They're going to want to top the end game moment again. Because I don't think Phase 4, we're not supposed to be getting an Avengers movie. So I think they're going to wait until they build up everybody to have the biggest threat.
Well, then I would say Annihilus would be a good place to start because he's kind of again, he's kind of associated with the Fantastic Four as well. But it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
But with the way his thing is, like the swarms of creatures, I'm a little torn on that because we always have these, like with the Chitauri, always they're kind of like a hive mind, and the Annihilus people are basically the same thing. Maybe just going back to the well once too often, but they don't have to even necessarily do it with those kind of creatures. Another one thing that would be cool is more something along the lines of Doctor Strange villains. Something more like from hell kind of dimensions. Like bringing Dormammu they used him, but like
he's still there.
He's still there. He's not gone. We haven't been introduced to Mephisto yet. We haven't been introduced to characters like Nightmare. We also have there's also the Watchers haven't been introduced, and you've got the Celestials. Not technically, yeah.
They were in Guardians.
They were in the cutscene, but there's a lot of people out there that could be threats. But it's an interesting, who do you get? Because if you can't use characters like Doctor Doom yet, and Silver Surfer and things, it's I don't know. I'm feeling. I guess my problem is my patience.
See, I have a feeling that some of those characters are the lesser characters are going to be. When I say lesser, I just mean more on Earth characters.
Yeah.
Like Doctor Doom will eventually be involved. I have a feeling that they're going to introduce Doctor Doom in the next Black Panther. You're going to have a Latveria, Wakanda thing going on.
Cool.
I think a lot of people are also hoping that with Black Panther you get the next Spider-Man, because a lot of people think that they'll have Spider-Man leave the country. Well, what better way to bring in Kraven? There's also that theory I've heard out there. But I just think that with the tease of Nick Fury, they're going to space. That's the ultimate clue. Is that why is Nick Fury in space? Well, there must be something coming.
But see, that could go into Secret Invasion.
Yeah. Where
the Kree Skrull War really comes to Earth.
Right.
And that's gonna get kind of
well, who's to say that all the Skrulls are good?
Yeah.
There is that too.
And that's the thing that, even though I liked how they did it in Captain Marvel, I kind of still want that to not be etched in stone. That the Skrulls are, like you said, all good. No.
Well, there's decades between Captain Marvel and that moment, so
seeing that
lots change.
Maybe that we're open to them could be their way in.
Very well.
And very easily to just infiltrate us.
As long as they can't make Ben Mendelsohn's character a bad guy.
No.
He has to. Him and his family have to stay.
If anything,
good.
he would be killed.
I could see that. That would suck.
The heart, because they like to kill our
moment.
hearts. Yeah, they like to kill the heart, and you can't kill Nick Fury because it's Samuel L. Jackson, and he already got snapped, and he's back.
Yeah.
You can't kill him again. So you could, and his death would affect Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Because now that we know that they've been buddies for a long time, and I'm sure even Coulson knows him and all this stuff.
Right.
So it's who do you go after? You go after the heart, and that's like a Joss Whedon kind of move.
I don't. With these movies they have in Phase 4, I think they're just going to kind of keep, and then the stuff on the Disney Plus service, I think they're just going to keep stuff grounded Earth for a while. But in the post-credit scenes and things like that, we're going to see there might be a new threat coming.
The long build-up, like from Thanos. It took forever to get to
it's just, and they're going to build it up for another 10 years,
so
I think.
2030, we'll have our next high water mark, maybe.
I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to make the logo and fit 20 in there, but...
Well, then, in 10 years, then, we'd have... is that enough time for Avengers versus X-Men?
See, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No?
No. Honestly, with X-Men, I don't see them doing full-blown X-Men at all.
No.
At least. I mean, granted, I say that, and they'll probably have a new X-Men movie next year. But I just don't. I see them taking certain characters, your Wolverines and a few others, the big popular ones, and bringing them in for a while first, letting them get established, and then start bringing in more. Or they may just do the core original team. Who knows? I just don't see them going full-blown X-Men for a while. I think, especially with the way people reacted to Dark Phoenix, I just don't see it.
And it would give Jonathan Hickman's new run on X-Men time to establish itself further because of this reboot that just is happening in the last month. Now, that would be flying in the face of years and years and years and years of storyline. It might also be a fresh way to just say, you know what, we know about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But rather than fuck it up, let's start here fresh. And then that gives them a reason to bring in characters right away.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have to just necessarily go through, this is Gene, Scott, Iceman, Beast, and Angel, and then fighting Magneto. We've seen it before, kind of, but just never with the one whole team. Like they could just start it off with a hodgepodge of the best ofs, and then build the universe from there, where you could start trickling in the rest of the characters here and there. That's actually I think that's actually a pretty good idea. So, I don't know if you have anything else.
I saw you had Deadpool in your notes there.
I want Deadpool 3, not X-Force.
I got this feeling. I know Disney said Deadpool is going to stay R. I don't think it's going to happen. I think if it does, we're still going to see Deadpool in the MCU.
Yeah.
I think people want it too much, even though they're saying, well, we want our R-rated Deadpool. I think they want both.
Well, they said that they weren't going to mess with it, but again,
I could see Ryan Reynolds doing both.
And I think that's what I think other people have said this. I hadn't, but the Once Upon a Deadpool was like a test.
Yeah, and it was a failed test.
And I think that there's you don't have to release Deadpool as a Disney property. You can put it in one of the subsidiaries of Disney that runs like Touchstone Pictures did. There was Disney, and then that's where you get. When I was a kid, like Down and Out in Beverly Hills and Ruthless People, all those were R-rated comedies coming out from not Disney but Disney. And so if they do that, I think that's how they keep it R. And that's but I can see that with Deadpool being the one consideration. And they could bring PG-13 Deadpool into the universe.
Which I think would honestly be distracting.
Yeah.
Because if they had him doing too much of the Deadpool shtick, it would take you out of serious moments in these MCU movies. Try doing an Endgame with Deadpool.
Well, then what you can do then is just have them come to him.
Yeah. I can see that.
And then they mess with that a little bit. But don't do it with everybody. And you do it in a way where it's tongue-in-cheek and not being disrespectful to things, where people will just appreciate that Disney sometimes is willing to let their hair down and not take themselves so seriously, and give them a little good faith for people that say, well, look, Disney never takes chances anymore.
Yeah, but with this Phase 4, it just makes me... they're not really giving us any clues other than Nick Fury in space. Yeah. So, I mean, that might be a smart move. That way they can take time to build up another big story instead of rushing right into it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where they're going. I am curious. I was wondering after Endgame how I'd feel when Spider-Man came out. But I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm still interested. I want more. So, I am curious. Wondering where it's going to go, I don't know, but... They still got me. I'm still wondering where it's going to go.
Just for me, the patience, I hate waiting. But I mean, that's why I still read comics, is that I have that to tide me over during all the down times. And I'm reading they call it House of 10 and Powers of 10. It's House of X and Powers of X. I'm not going to fucking call it anything else, okay? You put an X in there, it's an X. Look, I don't mind Roman numerals, but I'm not going to say them when it's an X-Men book. And it's actually really, really good and really interesting. So I'll just have to do more deep dives into other things to bide my time to see when we're going, and we'll see how how it goes back in 2020. We start getting everything dropped, and when Netflix loses the rights to everything, and we'll have to get Disney streaming service and everything like that.
Well, just think of it this way: when we saw Avengers and we saw Thanos, we're like, man, I can't wait. But wasn't it worth the wait?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping that these next two phases, two or three phases, we're saying we're impatient now, but when we get there, I'm hoping that we feel the same way about it that we felt about Endgame. That's my hope.
And with that, I think that's pretty much says it all. I'm more hopeful for this than I am Star Wars. So, because we've had 10 good years of mostly good Marvel stuff, and Star Wars has been spotty for the last 20. So, Disney and Marvel have been more consistent than Star Wars and Disney. So, I'm still on board. I'm just so nervous. And the part of the problem is all the other people screaming about what they want. Mm-hmm. And all the people with agendas and things like that, instead of people that don't care about the stories, people that, if you listen to interviews, that don't even understand the characters, they just go, no, I want it because I want it. I don't really care if it's good. It's going to be good because I say it's going to be good. Yeah. And it's like, those voices, man, we need to find some other people to say something rational in this sea of just endless nonsense. So anyway, that's our spiel for right now. We'll be back on his channel with our top 5.
Basically, what we really want. It can be dreams, matchups. It can be what movies we want that could never even happen, but it's our dream top 5 of what we want from Marvel Studios.
Okay, so this is...
I'm the real Geno, Geno Reynolds, and I'm going to spell it again, Reelgeno.
And I'm Rob from Smirking Gun Reviews. That's SmirkingGunReviews. You can find me at Twitter at YESSHH8. That's Yish8. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, all that rigmarole. Otherwise, this is Rob.
Later.
Have a good one.